I understand that this will not be everyone's favorite video, and I hope you can see the message versus offense. I hope you can see beyond what you feel, what you believe, what your political positions may be, and hear the message. Understand our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and the rulers in the darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Hear the message.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Just want to get on here and wish all of those of you who served and are still serving, but this is mostly for those who served and gave the ultimate sacrifice, a happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a time that we often, for me, it really means a lot. People who have lost their lives and those who came back and even took their lives. They're people who went to war, saw too much, and they were never the same. Don't think of those individuals who ended up just losing their life at their own hands because they just could not get past what they saw on those who they lost and maybe the pieces they had to pick up. All this, everyone who lost their lives, guys, it was lost for our freedom. These losses were so that you and I can have liberty in this great nation. I'm going to say a few things that may be offensive to some, and I hope it's not because it shouldn't be. But it is important that you do not destroy your country. Do not destroy the United States of America. Do not destroy the place in which you have a liberty that you will find nowhere else. Regardless of what you may or may not agree with, it is important that we stand together as one. It's just like when you have a family. When you have a family, regardless, even if you don't agree, even if you are separated, what you never do and shouldn't do is try to destroy your family. You never try to join hands with others because they are saying something that you don't like. For example, if you have a sister and your sister has upset you and you have some kind of disagreement, so you join hands with someone who's outside of your family who doesn't like your sister either, who has the same thinking that you do, and maybe you don't agree with everything that they do, but you know what? You agree on one thing. You don't like your sister. So you come together to destroy your sister because you're angry at her. But at the end of the day, you're destroying yourself. It reminds me a lot of when Jesus was being crucified. It is written in the Bible that Caesar and Pilate were not friends, but they had Jesus in common. Pilate didn't want to crucify Jesus. And Caesar was just curious about who Jesus was. You know, to them, he was just a source of fascination and curiosity. But his crucifixion was a big deal. And this thing brought them together. So a lot of things that I see happening, guys, everything, regardless of all the words of why this is being done and the purpose and the injustices and certain things. The reason why I question certain things, guys, is because when those very things were happening, maybe under another administration, just a little bit differently, everyone was quiet. And you cannot have selective selective outrage. And this is how I know that the outrage that we're looking at and the behaviors and the things that are happening, guys, it is called spiritual warfare. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. And certain principalities and powers that use us human beings, okay, that use certain human beings, in some cases, depending on what it's about, certain principalities and powers are upset that their is it their lairs or their nest have been toppled. Things that have been allowed for a long time, things that were in the making, those principalities and powers are not happy. So they use the individuals that they may have blinded to behave a certain way. But again, I always say, where was the outrage when this was happening? Where was the outrage when that was happening? Maybe some people were talking about it, but no one was taken to the streets where certain things were going on. I remember seeing American citizens being beat up in the streets. Where was the outrage then? Where is the outrage for people who are being murdered? But we are outraged when what? Government official does certain things. You can't be outraged for these American citizens who may lose their lives in certain instances, but there was no outrage and no one took to the streets when people were being drugged and dragged and raped. R-worded. I am always looking at the root cause. I've always been this way, and my discernment shows me the same thing today. I look beyond the noise and I look beyond, and I'm like, why now? Well, we know why. Okay? But I would tell people, do not cut off your nose to spite your face. Because a lot of the individuals who you're fighting against, or a lot of the individuals who will encourage you to do certain things to destroy your nation, guess what? They live on higher levels of life, where when it's all said and done, they can leave the chaos and leave you right there. They can leave you, they can fly high above the chaos that you created, following their directives to tear up your country and tear up your lands and go against this and be too tolerant and allow certain things to happen. And when it all hits the fan, and when it's all taken, and when you are losing your freedom of speech and freedom of religion, a religion that does not encourage you to hurt other people or force others to believe as you believe, when people are going to make laws that there can be child brides, when there are laws in place that is going to be harmful to you, and just as how there's certain things that's being tolerated and explained away, certain behaviors, when that stuff hits your front door, those same individuals that defends it now will defend those individuals who bring harm to you. And they will be able to fly high above the chaos because they are protected. They are a protected class. There'll be a way they can get their family on jets and airplanes and be scuttled away from all the chaos while you are there trying to put GoFundMe to raise money and only raising $40. Satan is very tricky. So liberty, freedom of speech, it is a gift that you will not find anywhere really on this planet. And I can say that in confidence, then you will find it in the United States of America. And I will tell you why I know that this is one of the greatest nations, because the people who speak against it won't leave it. They'll say everything, they'll do everything but leave. And I'm not telling anyone you're supposed to leave, but what I'm saying is, if it's so terrible and you stay, you're just as bad, if it is the way you say it is. Well, the truth is, most people know there's nowhere else they can go and do this, not even in their home nations, if they're not from the United States. There are no places they can go and just start fresh and be given the assistance and the help like you'll find in the U.S. So do not destroy your home. You may not like the president, or you may like the president. Whatever the case may be, do not cut off your nose to spite your face. There is a principality and a power who's great that is at work. And the whole purpose of this principality and power, guys, is to weaken the foundations of this country so that that principality and power can expand. There are a lot of things that does not happen in the world because of the United States. If they can weaken our people, our government, it's not a perfect government, but it's better than others in a lot of ways. They can take over. And when they take over, when that principality takes over, you're not going to be having church anymore. You're not going to be getting that opportunity anymore. You will be in danger. You'll see public beheadings. You'll see public beatings. You will see things that you never thought, and it will be too late. And guess what? The person you're doing all this stuff to upset or to taunt or whatever the case is, they'll be nowhere near it. Do you think that Donald Trump is going to just be sitting here while all the chaos is going on? He'll be able to fly his family away far, far away from it. I always tell people, don't poop in the pool, you got to swim it. I am not here I'm not here to give any political message. But what I'm telling you is the men and women who died, who come home and lose their lives at their own hands or to drugs and to alcohol, they fought very hard. And they sacrificed a lot. Some of them are living without their limbs. And we do not have the right to sit here and disrespect it and just kick our country in the gut because we don't like somebody in power. You don't have the right to just say, hey everyone, we've got free food here, come on. There are checks and balances and things that you must follow, that we must follow. And you do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'll give you an example. If someone came to your door and they really have a legitimate reason for maybe running away from a bad situation, and you're at home and you left the back door open, or maybe they picked the lock, and they enter your home and they get comfortable. They have a legitimate story as to why they're there. And it is legitimate in some cases. But in those who are legitimate, they also bring some who are not so good. And everybody is there in your home, and they're going to eat some food, and you have a good job. You have a good job, and you're able to provide. And there's an expectation that you can do it, and you will do it. And when you don't do it, the neighbors and everyone down the street is telling you, you're wrong. These individuals are coming from a bad place. Why can't you help them? You've got a 5-bedroom house. You've got a 6-bedroom house. You got the space. You have the car. Let them drive your car. Let them eat your food. Yes, you can work and provide it. They have come a long way. They're trying to get on their feet. Well, and you can't say anything because you're the bad person. You need to always, the reason why I'm giving you this example, Do they have a legitimate reason for running away from their bad situation? Yes. They broke into your house or they entered your house because they felt they needed as they were fleeing? Yes. And they take residence in your home and they're eating your food and all of that, and it's it's a few, could even be one person, but you're expected to provide. Would you be okay with it? Some of you, to be right, you're going to say yes. Yes, they can come and stay. Okay, well, let's bring a few more cousins and you have the money. Let's say you're wealthy. They just bring everybody and they can come in. Okay? You don't know who's who in some cases. But let's just stick with even those who are good people just trying to find a way. There's still checks and balance. I cannot just walk into your house and take something out your refrigerator and just open your door. You call the cops. But then if I have a good reason, I've lost my job or I've lost my way, do we allow Americans to get away with stuff because, well, they have a hard life and so this is what they had to do to survive? You don't want to encourage a certain way to acquire means. Things must be done correctly. There are exceptions, but it should not be the rule. And if you're honest with yourselves, you would not allow that. You would not allow someone to just get in your car and just drive it because they need it. Okay? And if you say something, the neighbors and people are looking at you like you're a bad person. You would not be okay with that. And the reason why I give you this example is because the Bible says to do unto others as you like have done unto you. So when you're thinking about things, don't look at who's a president or because something is closer to home, all right? Or, hey, these are my people from my country, or this is what happened to me. You don't look at it that way, which you should have empathy, okay? But you have to look at, would I want this? Would I want this? What you do, you set an example and you put it to yourself first. And you start with yourself and you work your way outward. Okay. That is what you do. And that's what really helps me with a lot of my reasoning. Because the way, what you allow, you'll have to continue. And it'll go on and on and on and on. And for the few individuals that really need the help that you're trying to help, there's going to be a majority of others who are there just with the expectation that you're going to keep giving me, and I'm going to be rewarded if I just break into your house. You're going to let me stay. This is a dangerous precedence. This is a principality and a power that on a micro level, meaning on an individual level, just you and another person, a stranger, would be unacceptable. Men and women fought and died, or who live right now with their minds lost and seeing images of terror, worked very hard, sacrificed a lot so you can have the freedom. But freedom must be used wisely. All of us have freedom, you know. People don't realize the value of freedom until they don't have it anymore. It's sort of like how we're just born into freedom and people will do things, take things for granted until finally they're in prison or they're in jail. They've worked hard and they've lost their lives for liberty. And nobody thinks about liberty until it's gone. People break laws and they get away with it until they don't have it anymore. They realize the freedom of just the fresh air and walking on their steps or on their porch, or just me right now, just sitting in my car doing what I'm doing before I go into a store. going to bed when I want to, eating what I want, wearing what I want. And the thing is, you can destroy your liberty by taking certain things for granted because you're like, it's my right, it's my right. Well, it's a right that people died for, and you can destroy it. And no matter what happens in America, you must always defend freedom and understand freedom is not something that you do not allow anyone or any entity to enter and try to get you to turn against one another, because that is the way that you can be infiltrated. It's a strategy called the third column. If you don't respect the rules of my country, you will not respect the rules of my house. They will not respect your rules. And you have to understand that a lot of individuals that you want to entertain, or that principality, is different. Very different from what you are used to or what you think you are familiar with. And it's going to become something very, very frightening if you don't wake up. Freedom and the liberty you have is a God-given blessing. And if you destroy it with a strange fire, you will regret it. And those you're trying to spite with certain behaviors, tearing up your yard, tearing up this, doing all the stuff, and I'm speaking figurative, burning stuff, they're going to fly high above you. And that includes the ones who are encouraging you to do it. They're going to fly high above you and leave you in the chaos, because you're not in the same class as they are. So please open your eyes. There's certain principalities and powers at work that are trying to destroy the liberty that so many have worked for. I understand this is not necessarily going to be a positive message, and a lot of people will not like it, but it needs to be said. It has nothing to do with taking any political sides or anything like that, but in everything you need to look at what's behind it all. And anything that, well, that is all I'll say about it. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you for all of you who have served.